Ukrainian forces have destroyed 2 Russian tanks, 1 Msta-S self-propelled howitzer, 2 armored fighting vehicles, and 2 ammunition depots. The relevant statement was made by the Ukrainian Armed Forces Command on Telegram, a Ukrinform correspondent reported. Military artillery units and naval units of the Ukrainian Armed Forces inflicted fire damage on the invaders. As a result, our military destroyed 2 tanks, 1 Msta-S self-propelled howitzer, 2 armored fighting vehicles, and 2 ammunition depots. The enemy's final losses have not been checked, the report said. Meanwhile, the victorious Ukrainian forces have recorded a video showing the Ukrainian flag flying on the outskirts of Lyman in the east of the country. The rapid military advance sparked panic, with Russian troops quickly abandoning their posts and fleeing the city. Russian troops have been besieged in the eastern stronghold, which is a major logistics and transportation hub for Vladimir Putin's troops. By late afternoon, Russia confirmed that its troops had been withdrawn from Lyman to avoid being trapped by the Ukrainian army. The Russian Defense Ministry said, in connection with the creation of the threat of encirclement, Allied forces were withdrawn from the settlement of Krasny Lyman to a more favorable path. The video shows 2 Ukrainian soldiers in an armored car sticking blue and yellow flags on a sign at the entrance to Lyman. The seizure of the city would be Ukraine's biggest battlefield gain since a lightning counter-offensive in the northeastern region of Kharkiv last month. The seizure of the strategic eastern city would mark a humiliating defeat for President Vladimir Putin, just a day after he declared that the territory where he is located and 3 others in Ukraine are now part of Russia. Ukraine's military spokesman said Lyman's capture would allow Kyiv to advance into the Luhansk region, whose full capture Moscow announced in early July after weeks of slow rolling progress. Lyman is important because this is the next step towards the liberation of the Ukrainian Donbas. It is an opportunity to go further into Crimea and Severodonetsk, and psychologically very important, he said. Operations around Lyman are still ongoing and Russian forces are making unsuccessful attempts to break out of the encirclement, Cherevati said. Ukrainian troops also liberated several other settlements in the vicinity, including Yampol, south of Lyman, Novoselivka, Shandrigalovo, and Drobyshev. Video from Shandrigalovo shows Ukrainian soldiers tearing down the Russian tricolor. They threw him on the ground and stepped on him. It is not clear how many Russian armored vehicles managed to escape. Video shows the aftermath of an artillery strike, with burning vehicles on the side of a forest road, personal belongings strewn in the mud, and dead Russian soldiers. Ukraine's swift counterattack appeared to have sparked Putin's speech on Friday, when he announced that the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia oblasts were now part of Russia, following last week's so-called referendum. The Kremlin controls almost all of the provinces of Luhansk and Kherson, but only part of the other 2 provinces. Western countries condemned Russia's annexation attempt as illegal and meaningless. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kyiv would liberate all of its territory, including Crimea. On Friday, he formally applied for Ukraine to join NATO as soon as possible. The Kremlin has not commented on its stunning military defeat at Lyman. Ukrainian commentators pointed out with glee that Putin was the first invader in world history to announce the annexation of new territory at the same time his troops were withdrawing from it. In Friday's rambling and vengeful speech, Putin lashed out at the West and described its invasion of Ukraine as a just and necessary response to efforts by the US and its allies to colonize Russia. He promised to protect the newly annexed land with all the power we have. Zelensky has shrugged off Putin's nuclear threat and made clear negotiations would only be possible with Russia's new leader. The sudden collapse of Russian troops in Lyman opened the possibility of further Ukrainian gains. In the Kharkiv region offensive, The Eastern Ukrainian command captured dozens of armored vehicles left behind by the fleeing Russians, including T-90 tanks, fuel trucks, and mortars. It is not clear how much Russian equipment remains in Lyman.